Today we're going to continue our mythology unit, and we are going to review a brief introduction to the Greek and Roman myths before we jump into the myth of the wooden horse. So as we talked about yesterday, introduction to Greek and Roman myth, the ancient Greeks, like many peoples, tried to explain the mysteries of nature and how things came to be. They lacked the scientific knowledge that we have today. So they created many gods and goddesses, powerful beings who rule storms, seasons, stars, the growing of things, love, death, and everyday life. According to the Greek myths, the gods and goddesses lived on top of a mountain that was too high for people to climb. The mountain was called Olympus. The gods and goddesses often visited Earth, sometimes disguised as animals or people. People built temples dedicated to these gods and goddesses. They left offerings and prayed in the temples for the help of the gods and goddesses. Often homes would have a shrine dedicated to a god or goddess. As with all stories that are told, myths grew and changed through the years. Some of the Greek myths and legends were written as early as 750 to 700 BC. When the Romans conquered the Greeks, they took over the Greek gods and goddesses. They gave them Roman names. Here are some of the names of Greek and Roman gods and goddesses and other characters mentioned in the book that Mrs. G and I got this information from. Roman names are written in parentheses. Now, even though we did go over this information yesterday, Greek and Roman myths are pretty heavy information, so it never hurts to hear something again. So this is the same list of Greek and Roman gods and goddesses from yesterday. However, I want you to take notice of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. She is mentioned in the wooden horse. Background information for the wooden horse. So this image here is a picture of Troy, and it was a city in the region of Asia Minor in a modern day Turkey, which was the setting of one of the most famous events in Greek mythology, the Trojan War. This is Helen, wife of King Menelaus. This is supposed to be King Menelaus, who was married to Helen. And then here's young Prince Paris. Yes, his name is Paris, who took Helen away from King Menelaus. Here's Odysseus, the wisest warrior who came up with a great, cunning, sneaky plan. And his name is Odysseus. So once again, here's an image of Troy. Notice it's near the coast, and notice the water in the background. This is an important image to have in your head when we're reading the wooden horse. So this wooden horse is known as the Trojan horse in the myth. So I don't know, you might have seen this in a cartoon. These are just two different images of what this horse could have looked like. So notice it's on wheels. Notice in this image that there are people actually climbing out of it in a ladder. Here's some vocabulary needed for this particular story. Valiant. Valiant means possessing or showing courage or determination. Constructing. Constructing means to build or erect or to put up, like a building is being constructed. Overpowered. Overpowered means defeat or overcome with superior strength. So now we are going to read the wooden horse, and please follow along. I'm starting up at the top. Helen, the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta, was the most beautiful woman in the world. She and her husband lived happily together until a young prince named Paris carried her off. He took her to Troy, a rich and powerful city that was ruled by his father, King Priam. Menelaus was enraged. He called upon the chieftains from all over Greece to help him get Helen back and take vengeance on her captor's city, which was Troy. Before long, a fleet of 1,000 ships set sail for Troy. Each was filled with warriors eager to bring honor to Greece. So remember the picture in your head of Troy and the coastline. 1,000 ships coming on that water towards that city. Troy, which lay near the coast, was surrounded by a high wall. For years, the Greeks and Trojans fought fiercely outside this wall. Spears and arrows flew, swords clashed, and many valiant men died. The gods and goddesses even joined in the fight, some by helping the Greeks, some helping the Trojans, but neither side could gain victory. By the 10th year of the war, the Greeks were battle-weary and discouraged. They might have given up if Odysseus, their wisest warrior, had not come up with a cunning plan. The next day, the Greeks began constructing a huge, hollow wooden horse. When it was finished, a group of brave warriors climbed inside. Then all but one of the remaining men sailed away and hid their ships on the far side of a nearby island. Left alone in their camp was Sinon. He had a very special role to play in Odysseus' plan. The Trojans were amazed to see the Greek ships sail away. They streamed out of their city and ran to their enemies' abandoned camp. "They've given up!" they excitedly cheered. "Victory is ours!" But they were puzzled by the strange wooden horse that stood there. Sinon then revealed himself. "The cruel Greeks turned against me and left me behind," he sobbed. He went on to tell the Trojans that the horse was an offering to the goddess Athena for a safe trip home. "They want you to destroy the horse and anger Athena," he explained. "Its large size of the horse is to discourage you from taking it into Troy and gaining Athena's favor." Taken in by Sinon's story, the Trojans dragged the horse into their city and celebrated all day with singing, dancing, and feasting. When darkness fell, they wearily went home to sleep. So now the horse was brought within the walls after the party. Later that night, Sinon helped the Greek warriors climb out of the horse. They ran to Troy's wall, overpowered the guards, and threw open the city gates. In poured the well-armed men from the ships that had returned to Troy. Taken by surprise, the Trojans were soon defeated. King Menelaus found beautiful Helen and joyously led her to his ship. As Troy burned down to ashes, he and the rest of the Greeks sailed home in triumph. So, you are more than welcome to go back and listen to that again. You are more than welcome to keep this document on your computer while you are clicking on the Google form. Go back to it as a reference. There are some answers actually in the text that will help you. Please also use the slideshow information, the pictures of who the people are and what they look like and what their relationship is and the vocabulary. Please click on the Google form. It's also loaded in the Google Classroom. Please go back and forth to the text and check your answers. When you are done, please hit turn in. Stay tuned for tomorrow, another awesome myth. Have a good day, readers.